Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Uh-huh. Want some candy?
What's up, all you sweaty little butt cheeks? Welcome back to another episode of Monster Candy Podcast. And first, Summer Slaughter Creature Series installment of the season with myself, Screamin E from the Memphis Murdermen, and normally Gucci T, but tonight he's going to be Mad Mike Terry from the Jukebox from the Jukebox Romantics.
Heel turn.
That's right. Crossing streams together once again since Oobliette is still on assignment, and we'll get her schedule figured out. But yeah, tonight we're going to talk about Chris Nash's summer slasher movie, if that's what you want to call it, in a violent nature. But before we get
film.
Before we get into any of that, it's time for some
Horror news, motherfuckers. Beep, 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 beep.
That's right. Horror news. What do you got? Terry's got some shit to do. He's a busy man. Kids coming out the wazoo.
I'm glad. You know, like when, I don't got to tell you because you're a working out man, but
oh yeah,
you know what they say? Like the hardest part of getting to the gym is, or going to the gym is getting to the gym.
Yes.
Once you're there, it's fine.
Yep.
So I just had a kid. To the listeners, I just had our second child in the middle of a heat wave who had some, like, he came like 3 weeks early and then he's all right. And then we had some health problems this last week. And I have a toddler who's going through toddler things with having a sibling also. And it's a heat wave here in New York.
Everywhere, dude. It's so
and
hot.
like, you know, like band practice got pushed because of, you know, our drummer, he's had to get stitches in his knee. So like the one day that I was ready to go because I had the kids situation figured out. And then we've been trying to fucking, for anyone, you know, for all our listeners, we've been trying to get a Godzilla King Kong fucking thing, Godzilla X Kong thing going for like 2 months now. It feels like, and we've recorded other things since then. And I just feel like this is a cursed episode, the Godzilla vs. Kong. So
yeah,
me and E are here and we're powering through. We got some cool creature feature stuff for the summer coming up. And we have this movie that we're going to get into a little bit, but let me get into some news.
Sure.
So part of some of my health care and daddy care during this early time, as you can hear in my voice, I haven't slept much. I went to the movies this weekend and I saw Maxine. So if you listen to this, Maxine just came out. And my news is that Maxine sends off the X horror trilogy on a box office high note. Basically, what that means, this is from film.com or /film.com. But it was also on Collider and a bunch of other things are reporting it. But Maxine has taken in over $7.8 million globally, beating X and Pearl. So that's pretty good. That's good for the franchise. Yeah. It's good for the trilogy. I will speak nothing on my opinions of this movie at this time. And that is my horror news condensed version.
There we go.
So,
I had something else planned for horror news, but it's,
do it.
No. It'll take way too much time.
It's fine. I'll hold you back. I'll hold you on it.
Dude, we'll get to it. Oobliette should be here for that one anyway.
Okay, fair enough.
Since it is summer, so National Geographic will be doing a documentary on Jaws, celebrating the 50 years of Jaws in 2025. So next summer it'll be out, which is dope because we do love Bruce and Jaws is a fucking dope movie. So,
dude, I feel like we get there's like a Jaws documentary like every Shark Week,
and I ain't even mad about it.
No, it's fine. It's all good.
So yeah, that's all of my horror news.
I'm with it.
Yeah. I love the Mia Goth filter that Terry just put on, you know me. But yeah, that's all we got for our horror news. So we're gonna end this segment of
horror news, motherfuckers.
That's right. Yeah, man. We just want to get into shitting all over this movie.
What are you talking about?
All right, so let me give the plot summary real quick.
Do it up, baby.
Which doesn't shed. I mean, it would probably make the movie make more sense. But anyway, when a locket is removed from a collapsed fire tower in the woods that entombs the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit spurred on by a horrific 60-year-old crime, his body is resurrected and becomes hell-bent on retrieving it. Sounds great. Sounds great. But this execution.
Dude.
All right, let's do the things we liked about
Okay.
it first and then just shit on it for the rest of the episode.
Okay. I'll go first.
Okay, go for it.
I liked a bunch of things about this movie, but none of them were the actual movie itself. I thought that the concept behind this movie was a great fucking idea.
Dude,
doing a slasher
exactly.
movie from like either the point of view or it's really the third person's point of view,
right?
Like video game style. Basically we're getting from the rising of the slasher, like almost Jason style, like the locket being removed is what calls this creature from the ground up, and he's on a hunt for this locket. And as the movie gets going into it, it had these moments where it was funny for a second, and then the idea and the execution of it was just not matched up at all. And I really did like the concept of this. We're gonna follow around the serial killer creature, and that's where the movie ends with it being a great movie.
Right, dude. That's exactly how I feel.
Maybe I can say, on a positive note, that the practical effects and the effects in this movie, when they do happen, are really good. That kill, the yoga kill,
right,
that everybody talks about, is the movie. The movie lives and dies on that, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says. People who like this movie, who are finding the good in this movie, if you take that kill out of the movie, it's unwatchable. And I think that kill was really creative and really good, and I want to give it its props. And I want to give just like the camera work and the audio, like it's ASMR horror movie, and those are positives. These are positive things about the movie. Right. I think it does those things really well. But beyond those things, that's not a good movie. Those are just good things about the movie.
Right. So, and we'll definitely get into that. And that exactly, dude, I'm right there with you. I thought the kills were creative. The gore was good. The concept, I like the concept, because granted, we've seen the, slasher camp summer thing 1,000 times, which is fine. I'm there for it. A resurrected guy or like a crazy guy in the woods. Got it. Axe wielding murderer. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm not going into like for them to rewrite the book every time. I get what I'm coming in for.
Concept is good. And that's exactly where it all ends for me. It feels like they had a decent concept and a not fully developed script, and they were just like, we'll just wing it and shoot it, and then kind of just
we'll just have them walk. Just have them walk.
Which is the whole fucking
dude,
movie.
That's not a fucking I don't want to get a rant. I don't rant here. I feel like this whole review is gonna be a rant. Good. That's not hyperbole. When people say this movie is just him walking, it's him fucking walking. And I saw it at a decent theater in a comfortable seat. I was alert. I was awake. I was caffeinated. There was people in my theater. It wasn't empty. And dude, I never, ever, even after having kids, take out my phone to see what's going on in the world outside of the movie I'm watching during the movie, especially if I'm at an Alamo Draft House. I was not at an Alamo Draft House for this theater because they weren't showing it at my Alamo Draft House. So that says something.
Right.
So fucking, but fucking, I looked at my phone. I looked at my phone early on. I was bored. I was bored out of my fucking mind. And I think part of that might have been if I was maybe in a louder theater, like if it was louder, maybe I would have enjoyed it more. But it doesn't matter. Maybe I would have enjoyed this with headphones on in my house. It's walking. I don't care what anybody says. And that's their concept. That's their concept. We're following around the serial killer. And that's fine if you want to do that. The problem is if you wanted to make a better movie, you would have done this concept and you would have put it in like a VHS segment on like a segment movie. And you would have done a 20-minute movie or a 30-minute movie even. I would give them 30 minutes and have them still walk for 10 minutes of that movie. If they did 10 minutes of walking in a 30-minute movie, I'd still give it, be like, yo, that was fucking awesome. Well, what a cool 30 minutes, not an hour and plus or whatever it was.
Well,
I was like an hour 90, but still.
It's like not even.
It's 94 minutes.
It's not even just him walking. It's every shot is 30 seconds to almost a minute long of just the woods of the forest.
Dude, it was cool though. Like I like that scene where he walks under the lake.
Right, which is cool.
But then nothing happened.
Right,
Like we watched,
exactly.
we waited for him to, like, I get it. They were building the suspense because we know he's walking under the lake.
Right.
But
And
wouldn't
it's
it be
like, okay.
cool to see? Like, I don't know. Like, if fucking, like, if I'm going to sit there and watch this dude walk across a lake under the water, when he gets there to kill her, I want to see fucking blood, rain come geysering out of the water. Something supernatural, something
Right.
crazy.
Right.
I'm not even,
Yeah.
and dude, I'm going to let you talk about it
All
because
right.
I'm not even going to talk about the end. I don't want to talk about the end of this movie.
All
Those are the
right.
things we liked about this movie. Tell me something you liked about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just like I said, the concept is good and the kills were creative. The gore was good, but it just felt like an underdeveloped script once they started shooting. So,
Dude, and
I mean, that's
I
like,
get it too. I see why this thing fucking did so well at fucking Sundance and all these fucking film festivals because it
yeah.
was the midnight, late night movie, and everybody who's at Sundance and all these
Oh,
fucking
dude, they're
film
all
things are
fucking
so
wasted.
stoked and
Yep.
they're so excited for something, and they're like, "Wow, we just saw something amazing,"
Mhm.
and like they don't want nobody wants to be the poo pooer and be like, "Yo, that
No.
kind of sucked,"
Well,
because you're so high from being at the festival, so no one fucking cares.
well, just from the beginning, it it's confusing. All right, you see this long shot, no one's in it of this, fire tower or whatever, fallen fire
Hmm.
tower. This pipe sticking out of the ground with this thing on it, and you hear these kids or young adults talking. And you see a locket on there, right? Guy grabs, guy comes and takes it off. You're like, okay. That scene ends, and then the ground starts moving. At first, actually throughout the whole movie until like towards the end of it, when everything started getting explained, you're like, all right, is this all right? Was someone breathing through this tube and they're like hiding? Like what's going on? So he comes out and he doesn't look like he's alive. You're like, well, he's kind of fucked up, but all you see is the back of him. And then they go do the scene, kills some guy, sees what he thinks is a locket, takes that, but it's a medallion. So you're like, all right, there's something going on with the locket. And
I was there for all this. I liked this
right,
part of the movie. The first 20 minutes, the setup, and it was great.
right. And then it gets to you're meeting these campers and whatnot. And this is the thing that bugged me the most about it is they did such a poor job of setting up the characters or like developing the characters. They gave you just a little bit and then kind of stopped the story. Like the one couple with the main girl, the final girl,
Mhm.
her
Oh God.
boyfriend,
Could you
it
call her
keep,
the final girl?
yeah, I guess, keeps like really reiterating to her friend, my girlfriend, setting it up somehow as like, oh, are they exes? Does he know he has a thing for her? Like, what's going on with that dynamic? And then a little bit later on, he talks about, oh, you had to bring your fucking buddy. He's bringing everyone down. Like, sorry, his family got killed or whatever. But
Yeah.
you're like, okay, well, that didn't really seem like because he's really making it a point to be like, this is my chick. You're like, well,
They were trying to with the campers and the actors, like trying to do the horror trope of having these dumb disposable horror
right,
actors. And I thought there was either a better way of doing that or just don't do that and make it
right,
something interesting. Do
exactly.
something a little bit different with the story. You could still have these like disposable campers, but like, I get it. We're totally getting it from this killer's point of view. And so we're not getting his opinion on it. Just like
No,
we're seeing what he's seeing, or
right,
kind of not, like he's off on the other side of the woods and we're watching it. At some points, you're not totally with him the whole time. And
right.
that's I guess a choice also for narrative sake.
But also
But
kind of annoying because it's like, okay, when am I seeing what he's seeing? And when you're
I
not,
rather they just would have went full in and just had it from his point of view then.
right. Yeah,
Because then if you
like
got
Black
snippets
Christmas
of
or something.
conversation,
Totally. Hmm.
yeah, if you got snippets of his conversation, then you'd get like, all right, this is the snippets and this is why he's doing it. But clearly he's just doing it because of the locket and whatever.
Right.
Yeah, they're just and for anybody who's enjoying this movie, kudos to you for finding the good and getting joy out of this. But I just felt like there just wasn't enough substance there, and there wasn't enough kills there to make up for the lack of substance. If you're going to give me this type of movie where we're walking in the woods for half the movie, and that's not a hyperbole, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And then when you're getting the kills, two or three of them which happen off camera, not on camera.
Right.
And so, and mind you, there was a couple funny things, like when he throws the body into the firehouse to get the axe and all that shit.
Right.
And he gets and the yoga scene was the yoga scene. That's the highlight of the movie. But there's not enough meat and potatoes there that makes me think, you know what? I found a movie that I like less than the Blair Witch Project. Whereas like that is a same idea of a concept film about students. Like this is definitely like a student film or a small company in the woods making a movie. And I just think that they had the spirit of the Blair Witch Project in them when they made this movie, and it just didn't deliver that.
Yeah, no, it just didn't deliver on anything. Like I said, it was either giving it was giving just enough backstory and development to like make it annoying when it stopped, and you're like, well, what's the relation, what's going on here? Like, you're spending enough time on the whole situation if they're just disposable kids, which they all are, but they just tried to develop the characters a little bit. I'm like, you do less of that and just make them these fucking stupid kids that are going to get killed.
Totally.
And then it would have like some random murder, which are like, okay, this is cool. But then it would go back to long shots, him walking, and then just kind of plop something down in the middle where you're like, well, what the fuck does this have? And then, you got the park ranger. You got them explaining it, the myth at the campfire, which you're like, okay, but it's still kind of like a passing thing. And then 40 minutes goes by till they get to the fucking ranger, and then he's like,
dude, I ran out of popcorn, I ran out of soda, I was real pissed.
Right. And then he gives this thing, but it's like close to the end of the movie already, and it's just like, again, such long in between shots between kills. And it's like, I get it, this movie would be great if you put it on at a party. It wouldn't be great, it would just be, you put it on at a party, don't pay attention to it, and every 10-15 minutes you could turn around and see somebody get killed and be like, oh shit.
No,
and then
go back because you'd miss it.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is a good, like, hey, we have the door open on Halloween and we're giving out candy.
Right.
We just have the movie on.
It's like walking and then a couple kills and then the end.
Yeah. It looked good. It sounded good. And the audio, like it was well executed what they were doing. Like what they wanted to do, they did. You can't say they didn't.
Right.
I don't know. Will we be talking about this movie at the end of the year on people's top 10 lists?
Probably.
I think the year is strong enough though that it won't be like in the top 5.
I don't think on any of ours, but there's people out there that are like in love with this fucking movie. And
how do you rewatch this movie?
Dude, I don't ever want to see it again.
And I'm not a rewatcher. Like it's rare. Like I got to have decades go by to rewatch something, unless it's like a comfort film where I'm going to try to fall asleep to it.
Right.
I don't really rewatch that many things. Like Detroit Rock City, fucking for a while, I Spit It in Your Grave, the remake, like way too much that I thought there was maybe something wrong with me. It was like a comfort film. Like there's rare movies like Hook, Heavyweights, like Mrs. Doubtfire, these dumb movies from childhood. But like horror movies, like I'll rewatch the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street when the anniversaries come by, or Halloween on Halloween.
Totally.
But this movie has zero rewatchability. And unless somebody makes a directed, like a cut of a cut, like a hyper cut, there's literally no reason to watch this. I'd rewatch this movie if they were like, oh, we're going to do a 30-minute version of it, because I'd love to see what they do.
Which would make it so much better. Like I said, it's an hour and a half of not a lot going on and like an unfinished script where they just kind of, okay, we're just going to go, but we'll just go. The kills are the important. You could obviously tell the kills were the important thing, which I'm fine with. But if it's going to be over an hour long, you have to do a better job of developing characters and making it seem like why we give a shit. Like even, what was it? Cabin Fever. Like that did so much better of a job developing the characters to where you're like, I hate that dickhead,
Yeah.
but I like this one, and then or just who they are and what they're doing.
So
Whereas,
so even if they were trying to tell us that like that shit didn't matter to the killer, like whether somebody was likable or not, he was going to kill him anyway. That is fine also. But then there needs to be some sort of suspense building beyond just we're
right.
following him. Because like it's a great example of why music is so important in movies and
Hmm.
sets tones, even just sounds. If they added like a low hum or a crescendoing sound as he was getting closer, like almost
Yep.
Jaws, like
Yeah.
dun
A
dun
good
dun. So
score makes a fucking
I'm
world of
I'm not
difference.
even asking for a score. I'm asking for fucking Dunkirk tones. Like like Christopher Nolan horns, like
Right.
"Wah," like how he does all that shit. Like
Oh yeah.
I'm asking for like the bare minimum of synth here. Not even like a single piano note, like
A,
building up,
a
like
wood
just
block.
yeah, like there was a lot of wood blocks in this movie.
Yeah.
There was a lot of wood. Um,
A
but
theremin.
just just something to give us some. It could be the on the lowest volume theremin, like
Yeah.
barely audible, that like nobody would know it was there, but you'd feel it. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it, I want to feel it. I would love if they did some of that, but there wasn't any of that either. And so
No.
like it literally was just like sitting in silence waiting for shit to happen.
Well,
And
yeah,
I don't think that's like that's cool,
dude.
you
Yeah,
know,
but you got to
for a
make
second.
even we're all musicians here. If you're playing something simple, you have to make those notes sing.
Yeah.
If you're, if it's three chords, like whatever. The blues is the biggest fucking example of that. If you're gonna play a few single licks, some notes, dude, you gotta make the people listening feel what you're playing. And if you're gonna do something simple like this movie was trying to do, I mean, it was simple. They did what they did it.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do that, you have to make the audience anticipate or be scared or just have some sort of feeling in it. And it
I
was
felt nothing this whole
no.
movie.
I was like,
Nothing.
okay, he's walking again.
In the
And then
beginning, I thought it was cool, like the first 15 minutes or so.
right.
And then once I saw what was happening, I was like, oh, we're walking again. It got to a point where it's like almost laughable that like somebody definitely chuckled in my theater when he started walking again. You know,
Right. And then
you
even
know,
with the killer, they tried to give him like, okay, they told the myth. The park ranger gave the story about the toy car and him falling and all that other shit. And then there's a part prior to that, right before he kills some people, where he finds some keys because they're arguing and they threw the keys in the woods. And he picks it up and there's a car on the fucking thing and he takes off the mask, which the mask thing was the reveal was like, why do I care?
right.
Like there's nothing there. And then he's looking at the car and then just fucking breaks it with his hand. You're like, whatever. But when he takes the mask off and you finally see him, you're like, okay, well, you're obviously not alive. That was the moment when I'm like, oh, well, he's obviously dead, which
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
clear through the whole thing. Even with the
The tail.
the tail, yeah. It's like, well, it could just be a tail and he could just be the guy in the woods waiting for his revenge. I
Yeah,
don't
it was
know,
like mentally handicapped or whatever.
Right, right. So, and it's like, well, I appreciate what they tried to do with the story. Like I said, good concept, and it was a good,
They executed what they
yeah,
wanted to do. You can't even get
yeah,
mad at them. It's what
yeah,
they. It's just a matter of taste or it's definitely subjective and definitely like we were saying divisive. So I don't
yeah,
know. I wouldn't tell somebody not to watch it. I just I mean I kind of would.
yeah.
uh, I
This
mean
is,
there's
yeah.
definitely better ways to spend your movie money if you're paying to go see this in the
I
theater.
would say wait till it comes out on Shutter. You'll like the kills, and like I said, you could appreciate the concept, but people were lying if they're like, dude, that movie was so awesome. It was like, no, parts of it were good.
Dude,
But
my dad's into movies. Like he'll ask me about movies. He's not really into horror movies unless it's like he'll probably like Long Legs,
right.
and maybe he would find something in X or Maxine or something like that that he would like. But if I took my dad to this movie because I was like, hey, I heard about this movie, he would be like, this fucking sucked. And I'm
Yeah.
never going to the
Uh,
movies with you again.
yeah.
Because if you're not into genre, if you're not into horror at all, this is this is not your movie. Like
No,
I
like,
definitely can see like first dates going wrong in this movie.
well, if you're
Like,
gonna, if you're trying to be artsy with the film and do these long scenic shots, like I get it. I get what you're trying to do, but it's like they tried to substitute that concept. Oh, it's elevated horror, it's art with, dude, it's just a fucking slasher movie. He's just this undead slasher guy that's very similar to Jason, but he has a different story. But whatever, like, you are not reinventing the wheel. Just make the shit good and make you hate or love the characters, but you don't
yeah,
feel anything about it. Like, I don't.
right. So is that their like theories? Like, is that what they want you to do? They want you to feel like he feels like he's just a killing machine. He doesn't feel anything because clearly he feels something towards it. He's just
Well,
killing them
yeah,
to get to the locket.
yeah.
So like, so like,
There's
if
emotion
you're
there.
if you're supposed to be playing the if you're supposed to be in the shoes of the killer, then I want to be in the shoes of the killer the whole time. I want to
Right,
walk through the water. I want to walk through the woods and do all those things. We can make a third person and then switch to first person back and forth, but stay with him the whole time.
right,
And if you really want to be fucking like hard on about it,
right.
because
Well,
then
that's what I thought the movie was going to be, and I'm like, oh, we're just like watching a regular movie.
right, just
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
with
Except,
but with most of it in third person from behind, but
yeah.
not really from his point of view. It's
No.
kind of like we were following behind him.
Right. Yeah.
And imagine you're that actor and you're filming those scenes as the killer, and then like you're done walking. You're like, are we good? Is that all you needed? Like, nope, nope,
Yeah.
keep going. Okay, all right, just
Yeah.
keep
And
going.
like the characters, the actors themselves, they did fine, except the whole ending was just weird with the chick getting picked up. And then you're like, is that chick gonna take her back to the killer? Because that
Yeah,
whole thing's weird and awkward, and then it just kind of ends, and you're like, here, that's an
yeah.
hour
When
and
it
a
ended, I
half.
was like, what was that? Why were they trying to do that? Like, I was. There
Yeah,
was no need to be confused. It was like, why are we
no.
confusing this?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna make something simple, like make it simple and effective.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop trying to, like, it would get to these points where it was just trying to do a little too much to make it confusing, to make something
Mhm.
simple confusing. You're like, why would you do that? Just do what you're doing and keep everything else completely bare bones and you'll be fine. But
Yeah.
anyway, uh
Anyway,
yeah, what, how many candy corns do you want to give this fucking
uh,
piece of trash?
um, I can't give it negative. So, uh, I'll give it 1 point. I'll give it one. I'll give it
Okay.
one candy corn because I can't say it was like it wasn't Skinnamarink levels of bad, which is a
Right,
zero.
dude, that's so fucking funny because
That's the bar.
I
You
was gonna mention that it's not Skinamarink.
because that's doing nothing. And I
That
think
was
if
zero, absolute
so,
zero.
do you think the people who love Skinnamarink like fucking love this movie?
Oh,
Like
probably.
I want to find like a Venn diagram of like people who like
Yeah,
this movie
probably.
and Skinnamarink and the Blair Witch Project and where they meet in the middle.
Yeah, because
Um,
because they'll be like, oh, well, you just don't get it, like what they're trying to do. I'm like,
I
I don't
got what
want to
they were
get
trying to
it.
do. I got it. I
I
got
don't
it.
want to get it. I don't give a fuck.
I
I know
got
it.
it,
Yeah,
man. It was like a cool idea on paper, but then when you did it, you're like, oh shit, we have to watch this for 90 minutes.
that's what I'm saying, dude. If it was like
So
you said, 20 minutes, 45 minutes,
yeah,
perfect.
it gets a strong one,
Right,
almost 1.5. I almost gave it because it really was a great concept, and the
right,
kills and the execution was exactly what they went to do. Like
right.
I doesn't, I appreciate for them for cutting it down. I'm sure it was like 2 hours at one point.
Oh.
So
Well, that's the other
I
thing. I mean, was there more in it and then they just cut out the stuff that made everything make a
what
little
could they
more
have cut out?
sense?
They were like, we're not.
I
Like,
mean,
somebody was real hard up on like, we're not cutting out the walking. I
yeah,
refuse.
anything else but
Yeah,
that. Like, all
the
right.
end of this movie where it explains the final girl situation, that shit can get cut. But dude, this
Yeah.
walking, if it's
Yeah.
not in it, the whole movie is ruined. The concept is
I'm out.
gone.
I'm out. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
So a strong one.
All right. Strong one. I gave it a 1.5. I know.
This might be the
Surprisingly.
first time I'm lower than you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is 1.5 candy corns because, like you, like the concept, I thought the kills were great and the execution of them were great, but just not enough in there to make anything make sense to me, of not make sense as to like what's going on, but make sense as to why are we doing this.
Dude,
Like
if
that's
if you
that. the question I
I'll
had.
do
Like,
it better.
why?
I'll do it better. Forget the 30 minutes VHS segment. If you did a 1 hour version of this on Black Mirror,
Mm-hmm.
four candy corns. 4. Like,
Yeah.
just 1 hour,
Dude.
because it would be such a contained thing. And like, I wasn't expecting that. That was the coolest hour of horror TV I've seen in a while. What a great idea. I didn't know that's what it was going to be about. I
Right.
didn't have months and months of fucking trailers and anticipation. Then every fucking YouTube blogger talking about this fucking yoga kill, like it had reinvented fucking
Yeah,
horror.
which I mean, dude, it was cool, but like
it was cool as hell, but it was not. Okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
nothing to fucking
Yeah.
toss ropes over. So
Right. Exactly. So yeah, no
yeah.
Peter Norton over
I
here.
mean yeah, exactly. Dude, it comes out our average for this Crossing Streams edition of the Summer Slaughter Creature series for In a Violent Nature is 1.25, which, like I said,
Fair.
and we're both not telling you not to see it, but
I don't know.
I think we strongly advise against it.
I think at this point, if you didn't see it, everybody knows what they're in for, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
think anybody's really
dude,
going in blind, being like, "Oh, really? You guys weren't joking?
no,
Was that
but
much
I was,
walking?"
I still thought I was gonna get at least two candy
Oh.
corns out of it. I'm like, it can't be, like, it can be bad, but at least there's gonna be some substance in it, and there was like no substance in that, like, just fucked me up. I'm like, dude, this is not, without credits, like an hour and 15-minute movie that
Right.
didn't really do anything for me. Like, there was just nothing. I'm like, I could have never seen this movie and been all right with that.
High budget student film.
Yeah. Yep. You said definitely a better episode of something, fucking Creep Show, Black Mirror, whatever, but not an hour and
Totally.
20-minute movie.
No, definitely not.
No. But well, yeah. Thanks, Gucci T. You weren't
Creature
that mad.
feature.
You know, yeah.
I'm not mad because the baby's sleeping only 10 feet behind me.
There you go.
So I'm not trying to fucking lose it. If this was like a regular, like everybody's asleep night,
Oh yeah. Fuck it. The roof's off.
there's only
But,
a couple things in life that really get me fucking going and pissed off. One of them is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Grandpa Joe.
Yeah. He's an
Grandpa
asshole.
Joe from fucking that whole character
Mhm.
pissing me off. And this movie really got me mad.
Yeah.
I was really mad. I was mad walking out of the movie because I went tired. I went to the movie tired.
I
I was
remember that.
caffeinated, but I went because I was like, I really want to see this movie and I'm not going to have time to see it.
Well, dude, I would have been pissed if I sat in a theater to watch this. I would have been like, what the fuck is going on? And he's walking
rare
again.
that
Great.
happens to me.
Yeah.
It's rare.
Yeah.
I can usually find the good in something. You know what I did see though? I did see Maxine. And
You
I'll save
did.
that for another time.
Well, with that being said, thanks everyone for tuning in to another episode of Monster Candy Podcast. And be on the lookout for the next episode where we get everyone back together again. And we'll see you fuckers next time.
Want some candy?
Beautiful. Right to the point.
Groovy.
You ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight? We don't have to be mean.
Yeah, Jack Burton just looks that big old storm right square in the eye and he says, "Get away from her, you bitch!"
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
children of the night. What music they make.